Another 2-0 day coming in. That makes it 4-0. The last two, up nearly 10 units. Yesterday's two winners had Dodgers and Cincy getting it done in a big way. A couple of more dogs, and you guys know that's the theme of it. So after a little bit of an up and down week last week, starting this week with a big note, John, got to be feeling good heading into this Tuesday slate.
Oh, yeah. No, when you come back from a 5-0 deficit with an 8-ball, you feel real good. Dodgers really turn it around and then get the Reds at nighttime. So two big W's. And just to talk about those two games, they are also reasons why we're on the two games that we are today, or going to be on a couple of the games that we are today. So I've said repeatedly, the sharp guys. Again, the sharp guys are the guys that control the market, the guys that move the market, the guys that win year after year, sport after sport, that have their accounts flagged. That's who moves lines. Not some square that won $100,000 in a fucking dice game and plunks 20 dimes down on a game. That doesn't mean anything. It's the sharps. They're the guys that move the market. Anyway, they have been on the Marlins since the Texas series, and they just keep betting them, and they just keep losing. We've been going against them now. We went against them yesterday. We'll be against them again today, as that number's gone against us. 1-11, their last 12 road games since the All-Star break. We'll talk more about that. But also, San Diego doing the same thing with San Diego. They buried San Diego Sunday night baseball against the Dodgers. Lose it. Come back yesterday. Bury it again. Lose it in a big way. And I guess they expected Dodgers. Hey, they got to win once. Almost the suckers mentality. This line on the Mariner game, Mariners open 140 is down to minus 110. So again, they repeat. Now I get it because I repeat also, but when I'm repeating, I'm making one team is either undervalued or overvalued, and that's what's getting me there. Now I guess that they're seeing Padres probably being undervalued. I don't know how they think that. Yeah, their lineup says that. Me and Ben said that last year when they traded for Soto. But you are who you are. You are who your stats say you are today, not just by name recognition. And similar for the Marlins. I like what they did at the trade deadline. I think they made themselves a little better. But they're not this number favorite on the road against the red team. Granted, they'll have the pitching edge. We'll talk more about that. But to just keep coming back with the same team when they're not winning, you got to change that rating. So feeling real good going into today. We'll talk about today's games. But yeah, when we see a big turnaround, when you're down 5-0, and you're ready to take the red pen out and put an L next to that bet, but all of a sudden take the blue one out and you can mark a W. That's a nice turnaround, a 2-unit bet. And it takes if you're a $100 better, you have 2 units, takes a $200 loss, and makes you a 260 winner. That's a 460 swing. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling like that today. Let's go.
Yep, let's keep it going. We have a nice little card coming up here on the slate today. Hopefully we can keep it rolling with the 4-0 start to the last couple of days. First game was a game we're trying to be on yesterday. Ended up getting rained out. We're going to have this doubleheader with the Nats and the Phillies. As you guys know, if you guys watched this yesterday, we were looking at Washington. Going to be looking at Washington and more so game 2 than game 1, but still will be a lean here in game 1 in this doubleheader. You have Williams on the bump. We talked about it yesterday. He's been brutal, decent though against Philly. And then you have Wheeler, who has just been dominant. 5 straight quality starts, 2.76 ERA, has had 2 bad starts against Washington this year. 11 runs, 15 hits, and 8 2/3. That's the only thing making this a little bit interesting here, getting on Washington. But you have a true pitching edge in game 2 where it's Gray versus Suarez. Suarez has been miserable. Gray, one of the best pitchers on the road. Got to be looking more there onto game 2 for Washington today.
Yeah, I would normally stay away from game 1 with not even a look because Wheeler's been dominant while Williams has had a real tough time. But because Wheeler has had 2 bad outings against the Nationals, I'm more inclined to look at that game. This is a doubleheader. We know everybody's not playing in both ends of the doubleheader. Both teams are playing well. This is why we were on Washington yesterday, guys. Nats have won 4 in a row for the first time all year. Now 11-5. Their last 16. This is their best stretch of baseball all year. 27-29. just 2 games under 500 on the road. This isn't a garbage team. They're not a good team, but they're not a garbage team that you're just going to throw the gloves on the field and beat them. So we'll be interested in the lineups. Again, as Ben said, more interested in game 2 where there's a pitching advantage for the Nationals instead of being a pitching advantage against them. But we'll look for lineups. We'll see where that line's at. First game is 4:05 today.
And then we have Marlins at Cincy. Cincy, one of the winners from last night. They get it done. You have this Miami team. They've now dropped 5 straight. They're 1-11. Their last 12 road games. And Cincy, they break out the cold 6-game losing streak. We'll see if they can start trending back the other direction here. Garrett versus Weaver. Garrett last 2 starts decent, 3 earned in 11 innings. And Weaver last time out banged up again, 4 runs in 3 innings against that hot Cubbies team. But the Reds just keep on giving Weaver run support. He's been very successful for them. Don't understand how it's been working. The overs, 9-3, his last 12 starts. He's been giving up a lot of runs, but he's been getting a lot of support from Cincinnati. Miami's road struggles still give Garrett the pitching edge here. He pitches well on the road as well. He's a 2.65 road ERA. Just can't make it this big of a number. I mean, Miami hasn't been playing well enough to be warranted. We'll be looking at the over in this game, but more importantly, looking at Cincinnati. Miami's offense non-existent right now.
Chubbs have got Marlins rating overrated. They're overvalued. There's no way they could be this big a favorite. Now I'm giving Garrett a big pitching advantage over Weaver. Marlins have now scored more than 2 runs. Twice, is it? Let me get this. They've scored more than 2 runs only twice in the last 8 games. They're not scoring. So it's not like they lost the game, had a bad break. They're not scoring since he could score. Marlins get the pitching advantage. There's no way they could be this big a home dog. We're going to be on the Reds again. This is another 2-unit bet. Come right back with the Reds. We'll buck the sharp guys again. Maybe they'll win this one, but we'll keep going against them in here.
And then we have Braves at Pittsburgh. Pirates get it done last night. No such thing as a lock. Braves had won and dominated the 8 previous meetings. Atlanta now dropped 3 straight. They're 3-6 on the road since the All-Star break, and still scoring runs though, and 5.3 runs per game in that little 3-game skid currently. And Pittsburgh trying to turn things around a little bit. They've won 3 of 4. See if that picks up anywhere. Chirinos versus Keller. Chirinos 2 starts with the Braves, 7 runs in 8 2/3. They end up winning both those games because he keeps getting run support. And Keller, 0-4, 9.97 ERA. His last 4 starts just brutal. Gave up 7 runs against the Braves last year. This game is over or nothing. 2 pitchers have been getting cracked. 2 offenses who are picking it up right now. Saw a lot of runs last night, and I expect another more offensive show out again tonight with this pitching matchup. I have a hard time seeing either pitcher have success today.
Yeah, before we talk about today's game, the next time somebody tells you they got a lock, they can guarantee you something, tell them to go fuck themselves. Last night, a 3-1 Atlanta favorite, coming off 2 losses. You'd think they would come in focused. A team that they had absolutely owned 8 straight, outscoring them 58-17, and lose with a pitching mismatch. Strider, one of your top pitchers in the league, against Beto. Pirates get it done. This is sports gambling, guys. That's why for the guys, because I love our members. I really do. For the guys that watch us daily on Instagram, that interact, 90% of my guys are the sharpest guys. 10% of fools, and they talk like it and act like it. Let's leave that aside. Let's talk about this game today. Keller, I would love to bet Keller, and if this was a month ago, I'd be all over Keller against the Braves. Braves dropping 3 straight against Krynos, but it's not a month ago. Keller's been getting crushed against the Braves. Braves, although they're losing, still scoring. They'll score a lot of runs today. I'll stay away from this game.
We have the Cubbies at the Mets. Cubbies can't get it done yesterday. We talked about maybe a little bit of a letdown spot. This Mets team, they snapped a 6-game losing streak, but still 7-2 their last 9 home games. So I'm getting it done in New York. We'll see if that continues. Tejon versus Carrasco. Carrasco's not the guy. I would expect that to continue. 0-3, 12.33 ERA. His last 4 starts, he's been getting absolutely crushed. Did have a good outing versus the Cubs back in May. And Tejon, he's just kind of gone 180 on his season. Last 5 starts, 4-0, 2.08 ERA. Definitely has a pitching mismatch here in this spot. Slightest the leans to the Cubs in this game. Make the number a bit higher. Just feel that little bit of letdown coming into this series. We'll see. 13-4 their last 17 games. They're crushing the ball coming out of the break, still leading the league, hitting 294, scoring 6.92 runs per game since the All-Star break. That's due to regress. We're almost going at a month now of that pace. So we're seeing a little bit of regression, 2-2 their last 4 games now. How much does that continue? How much does that go for? Will be Cubs or nothing in this spot. Can't back Carrasco here.
Yeah, pitching mismatch. Carrasco is just getting worse and worse. Taillon really has been said turn the season around. We warned yesterday about a possible Cubs letdown. That's what they had. Came off that big series with the Reds and then taking 2 out of 3 from the Braves, and they sure did. They went into Shea Stadium. They went into Citi Field and had a letdown. I'm showing my age. Mets, all of a sudden, though, they've won 7 of 9 at home. They can't get it done on the road, and they're terrible. A little bit more formidable at home, but no way in the world am I backing a home dog that has Carrasco pitching against Taillon in this one. Cubs are nobody in this one. I'm not on it, though, not at this number.
And it's Rockies taking on a trip out to Milwaukee. They get crushed last night, 12-1. Brewers have now won 7 of the last 8 meetings in Milwaukee. Pitching matchup going to be Freeland versus Miley. Freeland's been brutal last couple of starts since coming off the IL. 9 runs, 7 earned in 10 innings. Just has really good history against the Brewers. Had 5 shutout innings and a win against them earlier this year. He went 2-0, .69 versus them last year. Brewers typically struggle against lefties. And Miley comes back off the IL. Didn't go deep 4 innings, but allowed just 1 run at Washington. Did have a quality start at Coors back in May. This, to me, is a Colorado or nothing spot. This Milwaukee team really just playing 500 balls since the All-Star break. They haven't been lining things up. Freeland, yes, he's been brutal lately, but really good history against Milwaukee. 3 straight wins against them coming from him. And that's coming with a Colorado team that hasn't had much success against the matchup. So Rockies are nothing here. It's tough to kind of get on this team on the road. You guys know the story with the Rockies. Worst NL team on the road year in, year out. Still same situation with them here. Just would be a slight lean with the pitching edge to Freeland.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to give Freeland a pitching edge against Miley. So Miley, he's been great. Was great all year. Comes back from the injured list. He goes 4 innings, allows a run. Expect him to be stretched out a little bit more. Rockies, terrible, as Ben said, terrible on the road. Worst record in the National League. 2nd fewest runs per game on the road. Obviously, they score more runs at Coors Field. I can't pull the trigger on Freeland here. He's been awful. The Rockies have lost 8 of his last 10 starts. In years past, he's always better, as most pitchers are, outside of Coors. Here, he's actually been worse outside of Coors. Pitchers are always worse in Coors. He's been worse outside of Coors this year. Milwaukee, they only hit 232 against left-handed pitches, but they only hit 234 anyway, so that their average is starting to catch up. Their bats found a little life yesterday. The Rockies, even in their win Sunday when we had them as a plus 175 dog, they only scored 1 run to win it. It's just that the Cardinals suck more than they did. I can't back the Colorado Rockies at this number. If it was to go higher, if Yelich was to sit or something, yeah, I could find a reason to back Colorado, but just don't want to jump on Freeland's back while he's been pitching bad. And I expect Miley to get stretched out a little bit more. He's done a good job this year.
Keeping it with the NL West matchup, Dodger at Arizona. Dodgers, big comeback from behind win yesterday. Go down 5-zip. They rally back 13-7. They've done a lot lately, 1-6 of 7, scoring over 8 runs per game. And then you have this Arizona team who continues to be just ice cold, 1-6 on the trip they're coming back from, 5-17 since the All-Star break. Tough to back this Arizona team right now. Tempting to do so today. They've had some success in this matchup this season. They've won 3 of 4 in Arizona. Then you look at Urias versus Fat. Urias just on the road, 2-5, 7.88 ERA. Been getting slaughtered. Has been better lately. We'll see if that can carry over here against an ice cold Arizona offense. And then you have Fat, who was brutal at the start of the season. Last 3 starts, he came back in the rotation, 2 of them quality starts. And last time versus the Giants, 1 run in 7 innings. Really terrific game. But even there, he didn't get any run support. They lose that one 1-0. That's how cold this Arizona team is right now. Would be D-backs or nothing for me. Just hard time backing one ice cold team versus one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. The only read on that would just be looking to go against Urias on the road. Maybe that can somehow snap Arizona out of this cold spell. Don't know if it can.
Yeah, here's a game, guys, that your number says something. If you look at the stats, says the Dodgers shouldn't be this high on the road with Urias pitching. But then you got to look below everything. Do you want a 5-17 Arizona team since the All-Star break? They're scoring 2.2 runs per game their last 6 against the Dodger team. So they've won 6 of their last 7, scoring 8.43 runs per game, and have scored less than 7 runs once in the last 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
The only hope here is a Dodgers letdown. Do they have a letdown after winning 3 or 4 in a wraparound series that lasted till Monday with San Diego coming off the deck from a 5-0 deficit? Like I said, they put an 8-ball on. At one point, I believe it was 13 unanswered, 13-5. They go on to win that game. So it's today a little bit of a letdown as they go into Arizona. Other than that, they're scoring a ton. They're winning. Arizona's losing. Can't score. Can't give Fat the pitching edge over Urias. As bad as Urias has been on the road, he's been getting his stuff a little bit back together in the last couple of outings. So it's an overlay for sure. But cannot take the home dog. You guys know I love those home dogs. Just can't find a reason to bet Arizona right now.
And it's Twins at Detroit. Twins with the win last night. They've won 3 or 4 now at Detroit. They've just been very streaky since the break. Came out red hot, then they lost 6 of 7, and then now they're coming back. They've won 5 straight, 15-8 since the break. Detroit team, they've been struggling. They're 3-8 at home since the All-Star break, 3-9 last 12 overall. Gray versus Rodriguez, one of the better pitching matchups on this card today. Gray coming off 3 straight quality starts. Did have a pretty good decent outing against the Tigers, but didn't go long earlier this season. 2 runs in 4 innings. And Rodriguez, last 4 starts, 3-0, 3.97, coming off a quality start. Pitching edge, you could toss up either side. Going to give it to Gray here. Just Rodriguez, I don't think is fully back to the point he was before the IL, but definitely trending in that direction. And team edge just absolutely has to go to Minnesota. This is Twins or nothing. They have a chance to really separate themselves from the Guardians here and kind of make this back month of the season a lot more of a walk down into the postseason than anything of a race. So we'll see if that's what happens. Smaller road favorite here would be Gray and nothing for me.
Gray and nothing is right. You guys that have been following me for a while, you know I love me some Detroit Tigers at home, but they just haven't been getting it done. Tigers now, this homestand, they're 1-3. 3-8 at home since the break, just 23-33 this year. And if you're a How to Beat the Bookie member, you see we've been off the Tigers quite a bit. Our last time we were on the Tigers was that doubleheader when we got a one-hit shutout by Ohtani. Just they're a falling knife right now. We've been staying off them. As Ben said, Rodriguez, who was great to start the season, one of the best pitchers in the game those first couple of months. He hasn't recovered from there. Gray pitching better because he hit a little lull spot. Now starting to pitch better again. And absolutely owned the Tigers last year, 2-0, 0.69 ERA. Mini winning. Tigers aren't. Cheap price. Twins are nobody.
Then we have Astros at Baltimore. Baltimore's had some success here. It's Valdez coming off the no-hitter, so that's always a little bit of an interesting read. We saw that with Herman for the Yankees. Perfect game. He was getting lit up before, has the perfect game, got lit up after, and something similar could be in here for Valdez. He had a 9 ERA in 3 prior starts. For the Orioles, it's Rodriguez, who's been a lot better since rejoining the team. 3.57 ERA. Last time out, 3 runs in 5 2/3 at Toronto. Has had some worse home numbers this year, but a lot of that from before his being sent down and called back up. Just a little bit of a letdown here for Valdez, you have to think. You have Astros coming off a little bit of a trip to the White House. We'll see if that adds anything to it. End of the day, best team in the AL, dog money at home. Don't overthink it. We keep talking about the sharp bettors kind of overvaluing teams like San Diego and Seattle. Baltimore's just been undervalued day in, day out throughout the entire season. We're seeing that here again. I get it. It's Valdez and the Astros, team that runs the AL, but home dog for the best record right now in the AL have to be them or nothing.
Orioles undervalued since last year. We've been on the Orioles. I don't know, maybe 60% of the games going back to the beginning part of last year. We saw this team, the stock in this team rising. Other sharp guys just not catching up to it. Let's go with this stat. So, since 2021, there have been 10 complete game no-hitters. Valdez throwing the 10th, his last time out. In the prior 9, there have only been 2 pitchers that completed more than 5 innings their next time out. It is such a mental drain To finish that no hitter. You take into account the added distraction of on their off day, a White House visit yesterday. The Orioles had the day off. Orioles are red hot. Give me the young, promising pitcher who's looked much better in his comeback since coming back from the minors. They've got the best record, and they're a home dog. Give me the price. Give me the money.
Nope, absolutely. It's a little bit of a prove 'em series here for Baltimore as well, because they've had their success in the East, obviously, against Tampa Bay and everyone else. But this Houston's the team that runs this division. If you want to be competitive, you have to have a little bit of a prove 'em here.
And just to tack on to what Ben's saying, some people will look at this like, well, Houston needs this game a little more. Baltimore wants to make a statement here. They know Houston runs the American League. Look, the championship's going to go through Houston at some point. They're going to make their statement here. I think they're in a good spot, like I said, with a real day off. They had their last series at home against the Mets, so they had a nice day off. They're on a winning streak. Houston, besides the Valdez no-hitter, they're coming off travel from Yankee Stadium to the White House. Got to get settled in again. Good spot. I like the Orioles plus the price here.
And Blue Jays at Cleveland. Toronto gets the win last night. They've now won 4 straight. This is just hot versus cold. Guardians lost 6 of 7. They're scoring just 2.43 runs per game, hitting a $188, not getting it done with the bats at all. Kikuchi versus Baby. I mean, Baby's just been terrific. 5-0, 2.33 since mid-June. Last time out, 2 runs, 5 innings. Did have 4 walks versus the Stros. Prior to that, 3 straight quality starts. Sub-2 ERA at home. And Kikuchi, last 3 starts, very solid. 2 runs in 17 innings against some good opponents there as well. Baltimore and the Dodgers mixed in that. 19 Ks, 4 walks. Baby, I'm going to give a slight pitching edge here. Not too drastic. Kikuchi's been solid. Just the lineup edge, what's going on team-wise. 2 teams trending in opposite directions. Toronto right now in the heat of a wild card race. They're coming off big series against Boston. Thought there might be a little bit of a letdown. They just kept on rolling. And Cleveland just falling further back here against Minnesota. This is a slightest of leans here to Cleveland just because of how great Bibby's been. He's been great at home. Probably better off looking at the under in this matchup. Low-scoring game last night. Cleveland can't score right now. Wouldn't be surprised if we get another low-scoring one here in this one.
Cleveland's a dead team, man. Some of these teams, the Guardians, Diamondbacks, Marlins, the Angels, they're dead. They're just dead teams right now. 1 game behind at the trade deadline. Cleveland decides to be sellers. But just kills that whole clubhouse. Naylor goes on the IL. Again, they get rid of Bell. They get rid of Savali, their best pitcher, because Bieber is out. Quantrill, McKenzie all out. Rosario, goes over to the Dodgers where he's having some success over there. They blew up the team. They're getting what they paid for. The price is an overlay. Bibby's pitched a real good baseball. So it's an overlay to go on Toronto, but no way in the world. Again, another home dog. When I don't see value in a home dog, it's just because they're a dead team. I'll pass on this one. Also got to watch out. So Ramirez appealed the suspension. Now, this at any day, they could say, okay, here's the suspension. You can start serving it as of today. Could be tomorrow. At some point, he's going to serve that suspension. Don't want that already non-offensive lineup, especially without him in the lineup. So, yeah, I'll pass on this one.
Yeah, they're catching a bit of a break there, too. Only 3 games. I don't really know why he's appealing that. I should just get it out and done with, but we'll see here.
That's an automatic for these guys today. You got to remember, each day is docking a game's pay. So if they even lighten it up by 1 game, a salary like he's got, we're talking about big monster money for each game. So, yeah, you might as well go through what's the worst they could do? Deny it? You're doing life in prison. You may as well appeal. You got nothing to lose, so you give it a shot.
And we have Royals at Boston. Boston get the walk-off grand slam from Reyes last night. They come there and get that one done. KC, they've now dropped 3 straight since they won 3 straight. And the Red Sox, they snapped their 4-game skid. They're trying to get back going in the right direction here. Singer versus Crawford. Singer started off this year just absolutely miserable, but the back half of last season, he was on an absurd stretch, and he might be heading back in that direction. 2-0, 2.67 his last 4 starts, 27 Ks, 3 walks. Last time out, 8 shutout innings against the Mets. Did have 6 shutout innings and a win at Boston last year. Red Sox have won 8 of the last 9 meetings in Boston against Kansas City. Singer pitched that 1 win last season. We'll see if there's any of correlation there today. And then Crawford, he's been really solid coming off his last 5 starts in July, 3-1, 2.97 ERA. he has had some home struggles in Fenway, 0-2, 6.03 in 9 outings. Singer definitely gets the pitching edge in this matchup. Crawford has been solid lately. Boston, though, the team edge, the home edge, is just one of your better home teams. It's one of your worst road teams. Red Sox in the wild card hunt. KC not. Would be a lean here to Kansas City just with Singer's success lately. We'll be looking to see if he can pull off anything there. A little bit of a revenge factor as well. You get a walk-off grand slam on you. It's going to put a bitter taste in your mouth for the next game. We'll see if Casey's good enough to actually do anything about that. Royals are nothing in this one for me.
Yeah, it's just tough for me to pull the trigger. The Royals are who they are. They look great. They had a 7-game win streak. Fought Philly, really tough. Was fighting the Red Sox last night. Actually should have been out of that last inning. They had that guy struck out. Then he gets the walk and a home run. So the bad break, but that's what happens to bad teams. Not bad, though. Worst road team in baseball that scores the fewest runs in baseball is the Kansas City Royals. Red Sox scored the 5th most runs at home at Fenway Park, 5.49 runs per game, and have the highest batting average, 288 at home. Team that doesn't score on the road, a team that scores a lot at home. Yeah, I'll give Singer a little bit of the pitching advantage. Salvi Perez, he missed last night, questionable again today. I see what Ben sees. I see the lean that way. Just not big enough for me to overcome one team that needs W's if they want to make a wild card. The other team, just not in it. You know what I mean? Do they feel like playing today? Got to say, the price for me would have to be even higher for me to like KC.
It's Yankees at Yankees at White Sox. Yankees lose again last night, 5-1. Bats just not doing anything. They've lost 3 of 4, 2-9 the last 11 road games. And White Sox turn around a little bit. Now 1-3 straight, scoring over 5 runs per game. See, that carries over here. Talks about liking the under last night, like it again tonight. Yankees not hitting. White Sox bats starting to heat up a little bit. Schmidt versus Toussaint. Schmidt's just been very solid. 5-0, 3.79. He's not throwing lights out stuff, but just enough to keep you in the game. He's going his 5 innings, enough to get a win in the win column. So he's keeping them in games. And then you have Toussaint, last time out, 4 runs, 2 homers against Texas, best offense in baseball. Prior to that, 5 shutout innings versus Cleveland, had 5 shutout innings versus the Yanks last year. Schmidt gets the pitching edge, nothing too drastic though. And the Yankees lineup is not getting it done right now, especially on the road. This is home dog or nothing with the White Sox. They had a lot of drama going this past week, but it looks like they're playing well through it.
Yeah, man, Yanks. We were giving you the daily Judge report while he was out, so let's give it to you while he's in. So now, since coming back, Judge gets 2 hits last night. With those 2 hits, 7 for 31, just 226 with just 1 home run since he's returned. Since he's returned, Yankees just 4-7, 3.55 runs per game, and hitting 234. Not that much better than he was out. Judge obviously not 100% right now. There is no reason for the Yankees to be a 150 road favorite. Do I want the White Sox, a dead team? I don't. Maybe they got a little fire start under their belly when Tim Anderson almost got KO'd, but don't want the White Sox here as a home dog either. But Yankees just can't be this high a favorite, as they said, with no offense. As Ben said, Judge not doing what we thought he would do once he got back. Again, we made the statement. I thought the Yankees would make the playoffs with Judge healthy. 226 batting average since he's back with just 1 home run. He's not healthy. He's not getting the Yankees there. I think their season's over. I think Rodon, losing Rodon, the possibility of him, what he could bring them, is much the same as what I feel losing Musgrove is going to mean to San Diego. I just think it's the final nail in each of their coffins. The Musgrove, along with blowing that 5-0 lead to their daddies, the Dodgers, yesterday. So, yeah, I think the Yankees are toast. I think a couple of teams are toast. No way could Schmidt be $1.50 favorite here. But do I want the White Sox? Not really.
And then Rangers at Oakland. Max Scherzer going to go for start number 2 as a Ranger. First time out was pretty good. Gave up 3 runs in the first. Really settled in after that. That was all he gave up. Was a quality start. He's just had some road struggles this year. 5.16 ERA in 12 starts. Oakland, though, pretty pitcher-friendly ballpark. And Sears, last 2 starts, very solid. 3 runs in 10 innings versus the Rockies and Dodgers. 2 starts versus the Rangers this year. 7 runs in 11 1/3. Not too great. This is just one of those situations. Rangers right now, red hot, 7 straight. They are still just 3-9 in the last 12 road games, but you go and get a big pickup at the deadline like a guy like Max Scherzer. You're playing one of the worst team in baseball. This is a must-win scenario if you want to win the AL West. Got to get a win with Scherzer on the bump against Oakland. So as much as I like backing Sears, as much as it's inviting, if you look at those road numbers for Texas, the road numbers for Scherzer, opens up an idea, tempting to bet Oakland here, but game means too much to the Rangers here. Can't get on board with it.
Yeah, this is it's a huge number. It's not big. It's a huge number. But Texas does not belong to be this big a favorite at Sears and Oakland. Sears has been serviceable for them this year. You know what? Let me correct that. He's been good for them this year. The last couple of starts, allowed 3 runs in 10 innings against Colorado and the Dodgers. Against the Rangers, he's been hit, though. 7 runs, 6 earned over 11 innings. Rangers hit left-handed pitches to the tune of 282. They're the highest scoring team with the highest batting average. They're trying to turn that they had a 2-9 road record their last 11 games prior to last night. They get a W last night. Now, Scherzer, he got off to as bad a start as you possibly can. 3 in the first in his debut, but he kind of settled in after that. Can Scherzer be that guy to take Texas to that next level? He's got to prove it in Oakland, a pitcher's ballpark. I wouldn't be shocked he comes with one of those Scherzer Mad Max dominating performances. Just can't bet the A's, the worst home team in baseball. That scores the fewest runs at home against Texas, even though Texas had some struggles, unless Texas decides to give some guys a day off. We told you about their injury problems. Jung goes on the injured list yesterday. Seager's been battling. He was on the IL, so he's been battling that wrist problem. He was in the lineup last night. We'll look for lineups. Huge price. Just can't take Oakland unless some other guys are missing out of the lineup for Texas.
That's going to be Cardinals at Tampa Bay. Cardinals coming off that 1-0 loss to Colorado, one of the winners from Sunday. And this Rays team, really successful trip, 6-3. They hit some skids there a little bit in July, had some struggles, especially struggles on the road, but they really found themselves again. And Texas has now surpassed them as best home team in baseball. But a win today would get them back on top. Excuse me. Rays did win all 3 meetings last year in Tampa, combined 17-6. Eflin versus Mikolas. Eflin just been great at home this year. Last home start was brutal against the Marlins. Still, though, 10-2, 2.60 and 12 home starts. And last time out, 6 shutout innings versus the Yankees. Mikolas is coming off a quality start. He's been a bit more consistent lately. Did have a couple of rough outings there against the Cubbies. Has been better on the road, 3.84 and 12 starts. But Tampa Bay finding stride. St. Louis, just a dead team. We keep talking about these teams you sold at the deadline, absolutely dead. Cardinals, another one of those. And they mostly sold pitching, but even still, the bats haven't given them anything here. This is Rays or nothing. Yes, there's a lot of juice there, but Eflin, was he 10-2 in his 12 home starts, over 80% win percentage? I think it's worth the look there with the Rays here. Team that's trending upward again, and want to get separation there from Baltimore. Yeah,
St. Louis is a dead team. This is why we bet against them. We bet the worst road team in the National League, the Rockies, against St. Louis. St. Louis just a dead team. Arenado and Goldschmidt on there. You got to be able to put up runs, and they're just not doing so. Big turnaround. Tampa Bay, 2 out of 3 in both Houston and New York. New York Yankees, 2 out of 3 at Detroit also. So they come home on a 6-3 trip. This game is a huge game for Eflin. McClanahan, now he's gone for an MRI. He's going to go for a second opinion. Things aren't good there. That's why we would bet against McClanahan every start and cash in those fucking bets. Eflin, a de facto ace now. They've had a lot of guys off the team. Well, we don't know what McClanahan's story is going to be. Savali looked good for them to let up his first outing. He's going to have to really come up with something, but it's going to be up to Eflin to show he can get it posted W here. It's an overlay. I'm not laying Tampa Bay, but I want nothing to do with the Cardinals.
Yeah, Eflin, the biggest free agent signing Tampa Bay's ever made in team history as far as money spent. So, definitely.
And it was a great signing for them. He's done a hell of a job for them. Hasn't been great on the road, but did it his last time out at Yankee Stadium, and he's been pitching great at home. He needs to come with a W today. Tampa Bay, they don't get McClanahan back to form. They're going nowhere. So we'll see what happens in this one today. But no reason to take St. Louis, even at an overlay price.
That's Giants at Halos. This Angels team just a dead horse right now. Can't get it done. 7 straight. Haven't won since the trade deadline. Hitting .219 this week. Estevez, who was just great all year, 23 for 23 on saves, ends up blowing 2 in a row. Last night, Giants put up 6 in the ninth. They've now won 7 in the last 8 meetings. Alexander versus Giolito. Giolito, first couple of starts here with the Angels have not been good. This will be his first home start. He's been great at home this year in Chicago. We'll see if there's any carryover there into Angel Stadium. Can't back the Angels. Can't back the Angels. Giants going on a bullpen game. They've been pretty successful with their bullpen games this year. This Angels team just dead in the water right now, and really couldn't come out a worse time. You have, after this series with San Francisco, they get Houston, Texas, Tampa, Cincy. Could not be cold at a worse time. This is where you need to get wins before that tough part of the schedule. Can't back the Angels. They're toast.
This season's over, Ben. Maybe your dad could sign up for being a pitcher there instead of just the first pitch. It's over. They should have got rid of Ohtani. We were screaming about that every day before the deadline. We're not after guys. We were saying that before. And every day since, they should have made that deal. They didn't. They'll suffer the consequences for years to come. A stupid, stupid front office decision. They're horrible. Haven't won since the deadline. I don't care if it's a bullpen game or Ben's dad pitching for San Fran. I want nothing to do with the Angels. Giolito on top of the bargain. He's been crushed, slammed, slaughtered. Okay, he was against the Atlanta his last time. Nothing to do with the Angels in this game. Let's move on to the last game. That's my last game that I'm looking at for the day.
Yeah, only good news about the Angels. For any of you guys who ever have any bad beats, any horrible bets, you go on a cold losing streak gambling-wise, just know that Medici and the GM and the owner, Moreno, they lost the worst gamble of the MLB season this year. So everyone's good. If you ever have a bad day, just look at them.
We're talking about a multi-million-dollar bad decision. Multi-million-dollar bad decision. But let's go to that last game.
Padres at Seattle. Padres, tough loss yesterday. They go with a big lead, and then just team can't hold on with the pitching. They lose that 13-7. Mariners coming in red hot. They've won 5 straight. They're 10-2 their last 12, playing good ball right now. And they, who were selling a little bit at the deadline, nothing too drastic, just a piece here, piece there. 3 games back of Toronto now. After that series against the Angels, they have climbed up. They are in that 4th spot. So 3 wild card teams, they are the 4th spot. Surpass Boston, surpass the Yankees, surpass the Angels, all in that sweep there. Martinez versus Gilbert. Martinez going to be an opener. Might be stretched into a little bit more of a starter now with some of the pitching issues they're having. We'll see how far he goes. Had 1 start earlier, went 3 innings in that. We'll see if he goes any further than 3 innings today. And Gilbert been solid, 4-0, 3.05 since July. 1 really bad start in there. Other than that, he's been terrific. Last 2 both quality starts, 5 runs and 12 in the third. 2 starts versus the Padres back last year. 3 runs in 10 and a third. Solid numbers. He's been a little bit worse at home. Are the Padres dead is the question. They're still very much so in the mix. 4 games back in the wild card. They have a pretty easy schedule down the stretch. Coming off a tough series against the Dodgers. 2 teams trending opposite directions. Sharp action's been on San Diego. Don't really agree with it. This would be Gilbert in Seattle or nothing.
Absolutely. So Martinez, as Ben said, may get stretched out, but ain't going to be today. He just threw 2 scoreless innings against the Dodgers on Saturday. He'll be strictly an opener. I don't see him pitching more than 2 innings, possibly 3, but absolutely no more than that. That's what he pitched the last time that he was used as an opener, 3 innings. Again, pitching Saturday, he can only go a couple innings as an opener. So this line, again, as we've talked about, they're slamming. They've slammed the Marlins and Padres every day for a week now. So the Padres, Seattle opened up 140 favorite on the overnight. They are now down to -110. Why? Does San Diego have a pitching advantage that I don't see? A bullpen game over Gilbert? Are the Padres a better road team than the Mariners are a home team that I don't see? I am all over the Mariners. Haven't sent it out yet because the line is only gone one way. Dive down. Now, if there's something we don't know about, if Rodriguez or somebody is out, would be the only answer to this. When we thought this yesterday, we saw the Padres line just bolt. I thought, hey, does somebody know that the Dodgers are going to sit Mookie, Freeman, or somebody else a day game after a night game? It wasn't. We bet the Dodgers and we come away with that win. Getting back to that point, I would like the Mariners in this game anyway, but even more so after that disheartening 5-0 lead. Like I said, lose to their daddies. I just can't see how this team is going to get back on it and go to Seattle today, going with a bullpen game. after getting slaughtered yesterday, running through the bullpen yesterday against Gilbert. Now they might win, and maybe the Sharps will take a bow, but at this price, they're cheap enough. I'll be on Seattle. If the number starts to move up, we'll bet it, or we'll wait to see if do they make San Diego the favorite. Remember, it's a 9:40 East Coast game, 9:40 time East Coast. We've got another 9 hours to see line movement in this one, so we'll be on top of this game. Mariners are nobody.
A lot of line movements to come. We have a doubleheader, guys. That what that means as far as lineups coming out today, some pitching changes, of course. And if you guys want all this information, howtobeatthebookie.com or download the How to Beat the Bookie app. 2-0 Sunday, 2-0 Monday, all dogs. Yesterday, we gave you guys one bet for free on here. That was the Nationals. That game gets rained out. Our two winners, those got added on later in the day. So if you guys want all the bets, all the information, access to all the previews, John's ratings, that is where you guys go to sign up. John, really good start to the week. Let's keep it rolling.
We'll be back here tomorrow. Let's make some money.